Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2D Board Gamers. My name is Dave.
And I'm Dirk.
And today we're going to do a 5 deck ideas for Falcon. Um, so we're going to first go over what Falcon can do. And then deck one is kind of like modifying the precon. And then Dirk's got a couple decks, and then I have a couple of decks
Yep.
from what we've seen from the article, anyways. But first of all, let's go over Falcon's basics. So he is a 2 thwart, 2 attack, 2 defense. During the player phase, play with the top card of the encounter deck face up. So that's pretty nice. It's
Yeah, that is. I like that.
it's kind of like Magic is able to play with her player deck face up. So, but now he's got the encounter deck.
Yep.
And it kind of harkens back to his ally a little bit, where you get to look at the top cards of the encounter deck. So that's pretty nice. Then he has Eagle-Eyed. After you play an aerial card, discard the top card of the encounter deck, and he's Aerial Avenger. So I think you're going to see some similarities to probably Angel in this.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I mean, like I haven't had as long to look at Falcon because he was released whenever I was out. But when I did look at him, it's kind of one of the first things that caught my attention is he seems very similar to some of the Angel builds. I mean, there's definitely going to be some differences, and there's some different things you can do. But if you've got a good Angel build that you like, he should fit into it fairly well. So the alter ego, Sam Wilson. So he's got a 3 recovery. He is shield. And on the hero side, he was Avenger and
Aerial.
Avenger and Aerial. So he's shield here, and his action is Birds of a Feather. So you can discard 1 card from your hand and search your deck and discard for a bird card and add it to your hand. Limits once per round. Now, so far, we've only seen a couple of bird cards, but hero playable bird cards. Of course, we always had Edison, who was a bird. He was the only other. I think he's the only other bird in the game so far that we know of. But I'm hoping that we're going to see more.
Well, Harpoon always called Angel a bird.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're going to just kind of briefly skim over this. So here's one of the bird cards, his signature ally, Red Wing. And then you'll see he's got a lot of aerial cards. So that's good for his ability. So here's an attack. We're not going to go over these. There's a thwart. The preparation card, but it's aerial as well. Another aerial card. Another aerial card is a tactic.
Yeah, so he's definitely leans into the area.
This one's not an aerial, but it deals with his eagle-eyed ability. So, and then it's like for each icon, you can ready a character or stun an enemy. So that's cool. And then, okay, so the first deck is modifying his precon. And we want to quickly kind of go over what the precon idea is. So it's a tribal deck / non-tribal. So here it's like play only for identity has an aerial trait. So this is the team card for it. For each of your allies that has the aerial trait, you can, if each of your allies have the aerial trait, sorry, you can increase your ally limit by 1. So that'll give you 4. And then after you play an aerial card, you can exhaust this card to ready an ally you control. So that's part of the tribal part. And then you can see we got Aerial Asgard.
Yeah, so the Hugin and Mun card, so that's the second bird card that we've got. So, but this one allows you to search the top 10 cards of the encounter deck, and you can pull a minion and put it into play engage with you. If you do that, if you put a minion in play engage with you, you can ready a character you control for each icon in the boost area. So
okay. Then we have Arrow, who's another aerial agent of Atlas. You can choose a player to the end of the phase. Each aerial character that player controls gets +1 attack. So now each of your little army or your little air force, I should say, of allies gets +1 attack.
So what's cool is if you play her and recur her in the same turn, you'll get +2.
Oh, so is that going to be your Maria?
That was kind of the first thing I thought of whenever I saw that was to recur her.
All right, so we got a Wingman, which is a title. You can attach to an aerial ally, max 1 per ally, but there's several allies. When another aerial ally would take any amount of damage, any amount of consequential damage, exhaust attached ally, prevent 1 of that damage. So this is really good, like especially if you got like an aerial Voltron or something, that could work for that too. Um,
Then you got the strength and diversity. I forget the
Alliance.
alliance cards. Yeah, they're alliance. Oh yeah, the alliance keyword. But that's where everybody can help pay for this. It costs 2 per player. It's an event that is a hero action for each different trait on a friendly characters in play. So it's not just your characters; it's everybody's characters.
Right.
But for each different trait, you can remove 1 threat from a scheme or clear 1 damage to an enemy. And what's cool is very similar to the Maria card. The what is that one? What was that? The
All points
all
bulletin.
points bulletin. Yeah, very similar to the all points bulletin. Each one of those, you can choose something different.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
can split this up or focus it.
Yeah. The downside is it's 2 per player. So the more players in multiplayer, the spinnier it gets. So hopefully your fellow teammates are have a nice wide diversity of character types as well, instead of doing a tribal deck, because otherwise now you're kind of it's you're not getting a diminishing returns.
Yeah, we do like to play a lot of decks that fit into a theme together whenever we play together. This one kind of rewards you for breaking that.
Right. And this card actually might be better in solo. But,
Yeah.
But this deck concept. So because we've already seen Ariel, Asgard, Bird with the crows, and then we had Ariel, Agent of Atlas.
Yeah, 4.
And
There's
now
Avenger, 5.
Yeah, Avenger. And now we've got a Mystic
So
here.
there's 6
And
at least.
Adam Warlock, we've seen him before, but he's in the pre-con here.
We've got Cloud9, so she's a champion, so there's 7.
And that's okay, and that's it for those. But now that was 5 allies, right?
Let's see. I believe so, yeah.
So
4 or 5.
we got
4.
Well,
4.
we also have Red Wing as well, technically.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Red Wing, Hanuman.
Yeah.
That's 5.
Right. And then
5.
with
6, or is it?
this card, we get to increase our ally limit by 1, and then we've got some more cards that we consider to help increase the ally limit. But we also have some other ally options too. So let's look at some cards that could be added to this deck. All right. So first of all, we got Captain Marvel. She costs 5, 2 thwart, 3 attack, 2 consequential on the attack, 4 hit points. Ariel Avenger. So she's the same as Falcon, but after Captain Marvel enters play, discard the top 4 cards of your deck. If you discard a printed energy resource, deal 3 damage to an enemy. If you discard more than 1 printed energy, you could also stun that enemy. So she's got a really good power, interplay power.
Yeah, and the cool thing about her here is she actually shares 2 keywords with him. So,
so like team building.
Yeah, you can only use 1 team building, but you could, she does share a couple of different keywords with them. So, we've also got here Falcon, but this is the Joaquin Torres. Yeah, Joaquin Torres.
Yeah.
And he is a 4-cost ally. He thwarts for 1, attacks for 2. But as a hero response, after he attacks or thwarts, you could spend an energy resource. I'm seeing a theme here with the energy, but you can spend an energy resource to ready another champion character you control. Now, if you're playing this deck, you're trying to get, kind of keyword soup here. You're probably not doing a lot of other champions, but there's at least one other champion that we've already seen with its Cloud9 here.
Right.
So that does actually work with her. Oops.
All right, then we got Pixie. She costs 2, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 2 consequential, 2 hit points. Ariel X-Men. So now we have another trait. After you play Pixie from your hand, you can add an X-Men ally from your discard pile to your hand. Now you're probably not going to use her response per se, unless you want to throw another X-Men in.
But she is a 2-cost ally, so she's inexpensive.
Yeah.
With team building, she only costs a single resource to play, and she gives you more for that keyword soup that you might be looking for there.
Right.
And if not, she can still take a punch for you if you need to.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing is she can block for you, and even if you never use her power. Yeah. Now this one is one I thought of that's a little different because she does not have Ariel, but Stinger, she's got a thwart of 1, attack of 1, 2 hit points. She's an Avenger. Play only if your identity has an Avenger, which you do when you're hero.
However,
but she doesn't count against your ally limit, which is why I thought about it. but yeah, but then all you have to do is just throw a sky cycle on her.
She's an Avenger.
Right. So it costs one, attached to an ally, max one per ally. Attached ally gains aerial, and you can exhaust the sky cycle to ready the ally. Now she's only
So
got
yeah,
2 hit points, so you're
yeah,
probably
you're
not
probably
going
not
to
doing that
activate
a
it
lot.
twice. But the idea is that now you have another ally to increase, that'll increase the ally limit. That's why I thought about
Yep.
that one.
Right. Then here we've got Sunspot. So he's a 3-cost ally. He forwards for 1, attacks for 2. He's aerial X Horse, and his response is after you play him from your hand, you can choose a player and deal 1 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with the chosen player for each energy resource used to pay for him. So yeah, again, we're seeing a little thing that they like using the energy on
Right.
them. So
And it's another different
yep, another different
keyword,
keyword.
X Force. So
Okay.
then, of course, a card to help increase your ally limit would be the Triskelion. It's 1 cost support, location shield, increase your ally limit by 1. So now, between that and the what was it the one card, the Flight Squadron, I think it was called, right?
Flight Squadron. Yep. So there's 4, 5, right?
Yeah, Flight Squadron. So that bumps it up by 1.
So now you have
Stinger,
5.
and
If you
if
got
you
Stinger,
throw a
there's
Stinger,
6. Yeah. And 6. That's a lot of keywords then. Six different keywords if you're playing the alphabet soup here. But also, since we're looking at a lot of allies here to get those keywords, we've got team training. It's a 2-cost support. This one you can't play under any player's control with a max 1 per player, but each ally you control gets +1 hit point. So,
yeah. So the idea is that you want to keep them out longer. So that's what the extra point. Now I know this card is foreign to Dirk, but um, with this
I
deck,
don't use it a lot.
he might think about
I
using
would.
it.
Yeah, if I mean, I
Because
do like
Maria
cards like
Maria
this.
is
Yeah,
not aerial, so
that is true. But I mean, I don't know. Unless I decide to make her aerial, I might not actually use her in this deck. Although
you'd have to make.
she does have the shield
Yeah,
keyword.
but you don't want to spend the time making her an honorary Avenger, put a Sky Cycle on her, and then let her die and come back so you can draw a card. So yeah,
Yeah, no. So I said I'm already kind of looking at targets to redirect that. All right. Then we get down into the to the basic cards a little bit. So that's the leadership cards for it. But for the basic ones, we've got Angel here, who is an aerial X-Men. So he can reduce the cost to play Angel by 1 if you have Mutant or X-Men. So you don't have that. So you're not going to be using that ability. But since he is aerial, if you're playing team building, then you're still able to reduce the cost by 1. So you get him out for 2.
and if you had Pixie, Angel is a target for Pixie.
Yep.
To come out. So there's that. All right, I'm gonna let Dirk go over there because this is one he picked.
Yeah, now this one I picked simply because Blade is a 1-cost Avenger ally. So I mean, now we've got something in here that could give you the strength, after as a force response after you thwart or attack with him, then you can choose to spend a strength. If you don't, you have to discard him. But what I was just thinking is if as with Avenger with team building, he's a free ally that can take a hit for you. And vampires. But he's not aerial. You would have to make him aerial, but you've got a sky cycle.
You could put a Sky Cycle on him. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And again, yeah, that's another trait. So you could, vampire is a unique trait. So yeah, there's another trait that you could.
Yeah. So I mean, he's kind of one that I would consider him as he's a short lister. He's not necessarily going to make the deck, but he's definitely one that I would look at.
All right. Then we got Cannonball here. He's a 3-cost ally, 2 thwart with 2 consequential, 2 attack with 2 consequential, 2 hit points, aerial X Force. When Cannonball would take any amount of consequential damage, reduce that amount by X, where X is the number of aerial cards in your hand. So in his kit, he's got quite a few aerial cards, kind of like Angel. So
Yep.
Cannonball usually works with Angel. For the same thing, you could do that with Falcon as well.
Yep.
And you have X Force. So in case Sunspot's not out, there's another X Force trait person.
Okay. Now here we've got Storm. Storm, she's a 5-cost ally. She forwards for 2, attacks for 2. And she's an aerial X-Men. You can reduce the cost of her if you have Mutant or X-Men, so you're not going to get that. But when she thwarts a scheme, you can move 2 thwart from that scheme to another scheme. So because you share the aerial, you're still getting a 1 cost reduction on her, so she's 4 instead. But that ability to be able to move the two around, so that if you've got one that's a little bit high, you can move it, or you can clear one if you've got one that's almost out. So it's kind of a nice little thing to have. Like I said, she's another one of those that if I'm building the deck, she may not be on my definite list, but she's definitely on the short list. And I don't know. I might put her above Blade. I would probably put her above Blade, even though she's a lot more expensive. But
Yeah.
just because that ability to move those two thread around.
But like team building, because
Yeah.
when you're a hero. All right, then we got Vivian. She's a 2 cost ally, 2 thwart with 2 consequential, 1 attack, 2 hit points. Aerial android champion. So we have another keyword, android, new one. Hero response after Vivian enters play, choose an attachment, non-elite minion, or non-permanent side scheme until the end of the round. Treat that card's text box as blank, except for its traits.
So yeah, that's really nice whenever you're able to blank out the villain stuff. But we've also
Oh, it doesn't do the villain.
oh well yeah,
An
but
attachment
you're
to the
filling
villain.
out their stuff,
Attachment
some
to
of
the
their
villain,
stuff, yeah.
maybe, yeah.
But we've also seen that you can actually blank out one of your characters if they have a negative effect. We have used it that way. You don't see her used that way as much, but that's also a possibility as well. But yeah, that being able to blank out something, that's pretty nice.
And you got android, which is another trait.
Yep. Now here's one I kind of like, Snow Guard. Now she doesn't share any traits or anything, and she doesn't have aerial by herself. She's a 4 cost ally. She doesn't thwart or attack. She thwarts or attacks for 0. But whenever she comes out, you can choose to put a number of shift counters on her, and depending on the number of shift counters, you can give her different traits or different abilities. But the main reason I put her in here is because you can actually make her an aerial. So she gets +3 thwart and she gains aerial. So it is nice that she is something that you can use in there. But if you need a big beefy blocker because you got a nice big minion out there, you can put 5 hit points on her instead, and you can use her to block for a couple of turns. So I mean, she's got some versatility that I do like in her.
Yeah. But with the aerial option, and then she's a 3 thwart. She could be your
Yeah,
your threat maneuver,
yeah,
remover for your deck.
yeah. That's a nice amount of threat removal for a cost of only 4. So
Yeah. And of course, we saw that we got a resource card here, the power of flight, double the number of resources this card generates when paying for an aerial card. And it's got energy, which we saw a few of those heroes like Sunspot and stuff that needed energy. Um, and you got a lot of aerial cards in his kit. So yeah, this card would be very useful in his deck.
yep. And the next card here is one that it kind of it pulls away from the alphabet soup one, so the flight squadron isn't as good with this one. But if you decide to go an Avenger route, you can play the Avenger Tower, which that one will increase your ally limit by 1, and you can exhaust it to reduce the cost of the next Avenger you play. So with team building, you can actually reduce an Avenger cost by 2 if you're playing an Avenger themed deck, if you decide to go that route instead.
Or the other thing is you can throw in some honorary Avengers.
Yep, you can do that.
Because the thing with this deck is you really kind of want your allies to stay out.
Yeah.
So that you can utilize the number of different keywords. So which is it's different than the way I play. I usually have allies for chump blockers, but in this case you would want them to stay out for a while. So
Yeah, and I'm the kind that I don't play with a lot of different allies, but whenever I do, I kind of try to use the allies for utilitarian purposes. I probably more than chump blocking. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's just gonna. I think it's probably a fairly easy shift for me to be able to do it with some of these. But here's a card we haven't played with a lot lately because we haven't had as many Avengers. And we've been playing a lot of the newer cards. But the Quinn Carrier, we used to always argue. Dave reminded me. We used to always, not like swinging at each other arguing, but we always like, well, hey, I need the Avenger. I need the Quinn Carrier. And like, no, I need it. But yeah, so those arguments might be coming back. But yeah, it's a 3 cost support. It's an Avenger vehicle. But you can only play this if you have the Avenger trait, which is why we haven't seen it as much lately, at least at our table. But you can exhaust it to generate a wild resource. So this definitely, you can use it to pay for those energy resources, or for the blade if you wanted to do the strength resource, or if you needed another resource for something else. So this is a great card if you're an Avenger.
now I've kind of sneaked the Quinn Carrier in a couple of decks recently, like with the build support player side scheme or rogue. So I've used it a little since back in the Avenger days, but yeah, it hasn't seen as much play as
I
normal.
have done the sneak in, but the sneak in's a lot of work, so I don't use it as
Well, it's like
much
I said, I
probably.
like build support.
Yeah,
That works for that. All right, then we got team building exercise. It's a 2 cost support, exhaust team building exercise. To play a card that from your hand that shares a trait from your hero,
and we
and
see
reduce the
enough of
cost by
them.
one.
I
Yeah,
think it's worth 2 in the deck, to be
yeah.
honest.
Since he's Avenger and Aerial,
And you've got a lot of
he's
aerial
got a lot of
cards.
aerials. It's kind of the same thinking as like Angel.
Yeah.
So
So yeah. And then here, I also thought this might actually be worth. If you can do, it's nice to be able to have the enhanced reflexes, a 2 cost upgrade that they come out with 3 energy counters on them, but you can exhaust it to spend one of those counters, and you generate an energy resource for the card. And I don't think it's a bad idea to have a couple of these in the deck. And the reason I like them for it is because then you've got the energy on a stick if you need it. So you've got additional energy like the who's the one that it's per energy you spend to play him. Which one was that?
there's a couple.
Yeah, it was based off of the number of energy you spend. So it's nice to
Sunspot.
have it. Yeah, sunspot. So it's nice to have it on a stick here. And so that's what you could do. You can get these out and play, so they're not counting against your deck size. So but they've got the energy available when you need them.
All right, and then finally, he's got 2 preparation cards in his
That
kit
we know of.
that we've seen in the article. So he has at least 2, and they're pretty good. So we've
Yep.
got one here that says after the villain phase begins, discard, draw their fire. Falcon does not exhaust to defend until the end of the phase. And then this one is when another friendly character would be dealt any amount of damage, discard aerial evacuation, prevent all of that damage, and change to alter ego form. If that character is a hero, they also change their alter ego form. So those 2 cards made me think that practice plan would be a good card. Um, After you discard a preparation card you control, discard practice plan, return that card to your hand from the discard pile. And one that we didn't grab, another good preparation card that would be good for this deck in particular, would be rapid response.
Yes. That would be
Because a lot of those allies have when they enter play power. So you could chump block with them, they'll go away. Practice plan, rapid respond them to come back into play, and then put the rapid response back in your hand so that you can get it back in play again. So you can kind of keep it going. All right. Well, that was a lot for deck 1.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Which we saw a lot of possibilities with this, and like David said, there's a lot of similarities with Angel. So I mean, we already had some like instant ideas for that one. So
All right. Well, now we'll go to deck 2. All right. So Dirk's got deck 2, and I got an animal that I got to get off my cards.
yeah. What are the cats up there again? Yeah, yep, that's it. So yeah, like Dave's mentioned already before, and we said that there's a lot of similarities between Angel decks. So I mean, there's a few cards that I pulled out of one of the Angel decks that I built that I really like a lot. That is aerial focus. So I thought I'd kind of share some of those. So the first one I've got here is Eye in the Sky. So it's a 0 cost upgrade. So that's always nice. I mean, but it's also a preparation. So it can work with the what was that? With the practice plan, you can use it there. But as an interrupt, whenever you no, it's an interrupt. No, oh yeah, as an interrupt, whenever a non-elite minion, whenever you reveal a non-elite minion, you exhaust an aerial character you control and discard this card to cancel the effects of that card and discard it. Then you reveal another card. So it allows you, if you've got a minion that's got a nasty boost ability or something that comes out, or it's a really strong minion that you don't want to have to deal with, as long as it's non-elite, you can discard it, get rid of it, and you'll draw another card. So that's not a bad one. And it can be a little bit situational depending on what you're going to play. If you know what you're going to play in advance and you build toward them, you can decide whether or not to put that card in there, but it's going to be worthwhile. We don't normally do that. So it's one that I might be a little bit more likely to put in because of that. All right, so along with the aerial theme, though, we got some allies here that, or some cards here that I thought would be good. So for Banshee, he is an aerial ally. He costs 4. He thwarts for 2, attacks for 2. But after he thwarts, you get to confuse a minion. So you've got that ability. Confusion's always nice. Another one here, though, is Captain Britain. So aerial Excalibur. So he has 3 thwart, 3 attack. He does take double consequential, but he takes 1 less consequential damage after he thwarts a side scheme or attacks a minion. So because of his cost of 4 and the fact that he takes double damage, we don't use him as much for attacking the villain, but he's great if you know you're going to have minions or side schemes out there to deal with. And with the sharing the aerial trait there with Falcon, again, team building, you can get him down for a cost of 3. So that 1 cost is a huge swing for him.
Or the power of flight.
Yeah, or power of flight. Yeah, that's right, because he is aerial. So we got here Quasar. Quasar's a 3-cost ally. He's an aerial guardian. But after he enters play, he thwarts for 1, attacks for 2. But after he enters play, you can remove a threat from each scheme in play. And that's not side scheme. That's it. That includes the main. So unless it's got a, hold on, wait a minute. The exclamation point. Yeah, that thing. Unless it's got that on there.
It's a real crisis for him.
Yeah, the crisis. Unless it's got a crisis icon on it, you can remove it from the main scheme as well.
I think you need to get that tattooed on your forehead.
Yeah, but then I'd have to walk around with like a mirror or something to see. Another one now, thinking more, so moving away from the, if you decide to move away from the aerial and go with the Avenger side instead, some allies that I thought would work really good is Quake is a great one because she shares the Avenger trait with him. She had 2 costs, thwarts for 1, attacks for 2. But after a minion schemes, you can exhaust her to deal 2 damage to that minion. So this is one that I do actually like her a lot. I will a lot of times play her in non-Avenger decks and stuff. I don't really care. But as an Avenger, that means she only costs 1 if you're using
Team building.
team building. Yes. Why did I know the name of that one?
Or the Avenger Tower.
Yeah, the Avenger Tower is a good one there too, as well. Yeah, because if you're going with the Avenger route, you're probably using the Avenger Tower. But another good one here, because with the Avenger trait, is Spider-Man, the original Peter Parker Spider-Man Injustice. He's a 5-cost ally. He thwarts for 2, he attacks for 2. But the great thing about him is after you play him from your hand, you can remove 3 threat per player from a side scheme. So this is a good one if you've got large side schemes, that you can play this guy and you can clear a big one, that's been sitting around. Or if you're using some of the player side schemes, this will clear or almost clear a lot of those player side schemes as well. So this is a really, really nice one there if you're playing the Avenger trait. And the last of the Avenger allies that came in Justice that I thought would be a good one with them is Wiccan. Wiccan's a fun one because he thwarts for 1, attacks for 1, but after he thwarts, you discard the top card of the encounter deck. Now, you already know what the top card of the encounter deck is because of your Eagle-Eyed ability. And for each boost icon discarded this way, you deal 1 damage to the enemy. So you could actually hold him until you've got a decent one that you want to discard to get the extra boosts. And that way, because you'll know what's coming. If it's a 0 cost, you don't have to attack with him. You just hold on to him for a turn.
Right.
And so I liked the ability that he synergized with that Eagle Eye.
And the higher boost cards are ones you probably want.
Yeah, you probably want to
discard it anyways, so you don't have to deal with them.
Yep. Another great card that I thought I probably should have put this one with the basic ones, but the Government Liaison, you can exhaust this to play a shield card from your hand, reducing its cost by 1. And the reason I thought this one was good because of all the preparations is this will actually help you play Coulson a little bit cheaper, and Coulson brings out a preparation with him. So you can play him at a cost of 2 instead, and then he brings out a preparation card with him. And again, those preparation cards, the aerial evacuation and the draw their fire, great preparation cards. So I liked Coulson for that. So, I mean, a couple of different ideas you can play with there that don't fall under the aerial thing that I thought would be fun. But back to the aerial, then there was a couple of events that I do like with aerial characters whenever I'm playing Justice. I like this Agile Flight because this one, you can only play it if you're aerial. It costs 3, but then you can remove a total of 5 threat from among schemes. So you can split that up. You don't have to do it all on a single scheme. So yeah, it's not necessarily, I mean, there are other less expensive ways, that are more efficient but this one you can spread it out any way you need to, and I love that versatility. And then the last one I've got here that I think is a great add for any aerial justice deck is the Yaw and Roll, because you can only play this one again if you have the aerial trait. But then after you thwart, and it's not a basic thwart, it's just after you thwart, you remove 3 threat from a scheme. So it increases every thwart you do by 3 for just a single cost of 1. So I liked those cards. Those are ones that I thought would be good cards for Falcon, either because of the aerial or because they synergize with them in other ways. So I did like that. Like I said, the wicked this one though, this one I think is going to be a really fun one just because of the synergy with the Eagle Eye. I kind of like that, and I've been kind of waiting to see something that would give us a little bit of synergy with him to make it a little bit easier to determine when to use him. Because I mean, I hate using him and then getting nothing out of it. No bonus. So yeah.
And the other reason Dirk likes those 2 event cards is because Nova's in the art, and he's a big Nova
Oh,
fan.
I am a big Nova fan. Yeah. Yeah. They got 2 different iterations of Nova. That's the coolest
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like Nova. Nova, I think Nova's the one I got all those. I had a Nova deck that I played one time. Heavy recursion.
First Con of Heroes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I played Maria 11 times in a single turn.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was
I
deck.
like Nova.
That was deck 2. Now we're going to move to
Yep.
deck 3. All right. So for deck 3, I thought protection and perfect defense to a point. So a lot of the cards that I've shown in some of my other perfect defense decks could apply. I didn't pull all of them because
That's a lot of cards.
and those decks tend to be like super big anyway. So I went with some more specific for Angel. I mean, yeah, Falcon. I mean, specifically.
See, we've talked about Angel enough.
But Brother Voodoo is very good because of his ability. So he's a 3-cost ally, 2 thwart with 2 consequential, 1 attack, 3 hit points, Avenger Mystic. So team building could help get him out. And then after Brother Voodoo enters play, search top 5 cards of your deck for an event card and add it to your hand.
And there's some great event cards
Right.
that either you can either do the protection ones or his event cards. Either one of those would actually be great.
Right. And so I picked him because the Avenger as well. And yeah, getting the. Okay. Then we have, even though we're not doing the pre-con, you're still probably going to have a lot of aerial characters. Like when we showed in deck 1, there's a lot of aerial, even basic aerial allies. I didn't actually go through the protection list of aerial allies because we kind of did that with leadership. But if there's any aerial allies when I build this deck, I might consider those. But we have aerial intervention here. Interrupt. When a character would take any amount of damage from an attack, exhaust an aerial character you control, prevent up to 3 of that damage. So that's when I thought of that. Then we got Ever Vigilant. It's a 2-cost event. Aerial skill, play only if your identity has an aerial trait, which you do. Ready your hero and remove 2 threat from the main scheme.
I like that one. That's a fun one.
We have Return to Favor. So
not aerial.
Not aerial, but this works with his Eagle-Eyed.
Yes.
Because it's like you discard cards to the top of the encounter deck until you discard a treachery, reveal that treachery, deal 5 damage to the villain. So if you see kind of a modest treachery on top of the deck, this might be the time to do it. Where it's like, oh, well, that treachery's not so bad. I can deal with that, during the hero phase, and then be able to turn around and do 5 damage to the villain. So you actually can see what's coming up.
Yep.
Or if you could technically do it, I guess, if there's a really bad card on top that you because it says discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until you discard a treachery, so it could help you mill through the encounter deck a little bit.
And of course, what's one of the worst treacheries out there?
Shadows of the Past.
Yes. It's a good way to get rid of shadows if it's on top.
All right. And now this card here.
I still think this card should be aerial. I still think it should.
This is Falcon's Airy. He's taking over it. So what costs?
Borrowed it.
He moved in after Angel took off.
Oh, okay.
So 1 cost support. After you defend against an attack, place one fatigue counter here. Then, as an alter ego action, you can remove one. You remove each fatigue counter to heal one damage from your identity for each fatigue
Yeah,
counter.
and what I really like about that card is, unlike a lot of the other cards that deal with when you defend against an attack, this one doesn't care if you actually take any damage or not. You still get that counter.
Right.
So that's what I like about that one.
Come on, focus. It's not going to focus.
It needs its ADHD meds,
Apparently.
like I do.
All right. Then, so you're going to be defending. He's only got a 2 defense, so I throw an armored vest to give him your +1 defense. Defensive stance is a preparation card, so practice plan could be useful for this, but when you would take any amount of damage, you can discard defensive stance to prevent 3 of that damage.
Yeah, and I really like the fact that that one's preparation, so I like that with the practice.
And like I said, there's lots of cards that I didn't include because from the perfect defense because of this card here. But when this card's not in play, you might want to use some of those cards.
Yep.
But the idea is, since he's taking extra attacks in multiplayer, you want to be a way to mitigate the damage. So that's where energy barrier comes into play. 2 cost upgrade. When you would take any amount of damage, remove 1 reflection counter from here, prevent 1 of that damage, and deal 1 damage to the enemy. Force field generator. This is just a nice big pool of defense. It's a cost 3, uses 6 energy counters, max 1 per player. When you would take any amount of damage, remove that many energy counters from here. For each energy counter, remove this way, prevent 1 of that damage. And then this is kind of the part of the, if you take no damage, you got hard to ignore, 1 cost upgrade. After your hero defends against an attack and takes no damage, which again, this draw their fire, or actually, no, this card.
No, yeah.
Aerial evacuation would work. Oh no, it wouldn't.
Oh, actually, yeah, would that one, because
no, because you're
you'd no longer be hero.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't work with that. Yeah. But you are still defending a lot, so that could still be useful. Height advantage, 1 cost upgrade. While your hero has the aerial trait, reduce the amount of damage you take from each attack by 1.
Yeah, this one, because you're going to be taking a lot of extra attacks, this will be a nice one.
Yeah, especially with that other card.
And the fact is,
after the villain, after this one, draw their fire.
And with it being a cost of 1 and it's got the aerial keyword, you can play it for free. So
right, and of course, a staple: if you take no damage, unflappable. After you defend against an attack and take no damage, exhaust unflappable, draw a card. And now this is a response, not a hero response, so that actually could work with this card.
Yes,
because
you've defended.
Yep,
and you take no damage. So yeah, that one makes it. That one works.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, so that was deck 3, protection. This is deck 4, aggression.
So whenever I was looking at the different allies in aggression, one thing that kind of stood out as glaring is I only actually saw 1 aerial aggression ally, and that is Wasp. Now, she does share the Avenger and aerial keywords. However, because of her special thing, her interrupt is whenever she enters play, you place a PIM counter on her up to a maximum of 3 for each energy you spent to play her. That you overpaid, I guess. So you cannot use team building on her. And the Avenger Tower does not work for her either, even though she's Avenger, as far as to reduce the cost, because you can't reduce her cost. She costs 0. You're overpaying her, but they don't do anything for overpay. But she does still share the aerial keyword, so you can still take advantage of the keyword there. But I mean, she is nice because she's got she thwarts for 1, but she attacks for 3 while only taking a single consequential. So if you do actually spend 3 energy, and again, like you said, we're looking at probably playing the Quinn Carrier and playing extra enhanced reflexes. So you've got energy to pay for that. You should have those. But again, she is an Avenger, so I did notice that there's quite a few Avengers, and some of the ones that I thought would, that I like with Falcon, particularly, is I like Hulk, because Hulk, instead of a 2 cost, is now a 1 cost with the keyword. And I mean, he does thwart he is unable to thwart because of the dash. So even if you gave him thwart, he cannot actually thwart because you can't add it to him. but he's at 3 attack. But his, and he's big and beefy. He's got 5 hit points. So a lot of people play him and just use it for the hit points. I actually kind of like to use his abilities because I love it whenever I actually can get the extra damage for each character or deal the 2 extra damage. So I like the top 2. Number 3 and number 4, not as much, and you might be building with a little extra energy, so it might be a little bit more common to discard him. So if that's the case, depending on how you build the deck, whether you want to use him as a pure blocker or try to get those extra swings out of him. But he's a great one because, like I said, only cost 1 with that trait.
Hulk Fort's so good, the number is unmeasurable.
Yes. All right. Another one I liked here was Spider Girl. Again, she's only going to cost 1 if you have if you have a team building. But she is because of the Avenger trait, but she thwarts for 1, attacks for 2. But after you play her from your hand, you can stun and confuse an enemy. Again, love to be able to kind of control the table a little bit with those. Another good one I found here that I
also
like.
have the tower too.
Yes, and you have the tower too. So yeah. But Thor, so he's Asgard, but he's also an Avenger. He comes in, he thwarts for 1, attacks for 3. He does take a double consequential whenever he attacks, but whenever he attacks a minion engaged with the player, you can spend an energy resource to resolve the attack against each minion engaged with that player. So if you got a player who's got a lot of minions on him, or yourself even, it works there, you can actually do kind of an AoE type of attack with them there with energy. And, I said, I'm kind of looking to play the extra energy cards to be able to use some of these abilities if I'm going with this strategy. Another one I liked is Tigra. I've kind of always liked her. I played her in a lot of non-Avenger decks earlier on. But with the Avenger, it makes her only cost 2 instead of 3. She thwarts for 1, attacks for 2. But after she attacks and defeats an enemy, you can heal 1 damage to her. So you'll actually heal the damage before she takes the consequential. So she'll have to have 1 on her before that works. But then you can actually keep her around for a while if she's able to kill off enemies. Another one you've got here, the last one of the allies that I've got is Valkyrie. She's also an Asgard Avenger, thwarts for 1, attacks for 2. But after she enters play, you can deal 2 damage to a minion, but if you spend energy to pay for her, then you can deal 3 damage to that minion instead. So it's a good way to deal some extra damage whenever she comes out. So she's a nice one to play there as well. Of course, then we're looking at, an aggression deck. So this is always a great card, especially because, oops, I bumped it. But especially because there's a couple of aerial cards that are kind of on the expensive end, or at least one aerial card that's on the expensive end that's really good. And so home technique can make that one even better. But this one, of course, you'll need the 2 energy. So Quinn Carrier can help you. 2 mental. Yeah. I'm wishing it was energy, but 2 mental. So Quinn Carrier can help you pay for that if you need to. But couple of those that work really well. Bombs Away. So it is a 2-cost event that you can exhaust an aerial character you control, and you choose a player and deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. So it's a way you can do an area of effect. It does not count as an attack, so this one doesn't actually work with the home technique, but it's still a really good card to play with the aerial because you can do that. Now, the one that works great with the home technique here is the dive bomb, because again, this is one you can only play with the aerial trait. You deal 7 damage to an enemy and 1 damage to each other enemy, and if you use that home technique, you're now doing 11 damage to a single enemy and 5 to each other enemy. This card is great with home technique and aerial characters. It's a, as far as I'm concerned, an aggression deck with the aerial character, that's almost a must include. A couple of other ones that I kind of liked here. Oh wait, I got been wrong over. So I liked here, you've got Get Over here. So it's a 0-cost attack event, but you deal 1 damage to a minion, and if you have the aerial trait, you can engage that minion. And if you've already got this card out and in play, Lie in Wait, it is max 1 per player. It's a 1-cost upgrade. But as after a minion engages you, you discard Lie in Wait to deal 3 damage to that minion. So, of course, you can use Get Over here to bring him to you, deal 1 damage, and then pop Lie in Wait to deal. So you're able to deal 4 damage to a minion for a 1 cost. And it's a preparation card. So added bonus on that one. Last one I've got here that I thought would work really good is Pitchback. because this is an aerial card, so you can play this for free if you've already got a team building out. You can only play it if you have the aerial trait, but after your hero makes an attack, you deal 4 damage to an enemy. Similar to the one for Justice, this can happen with either a basic or a card to make the attack. So this works either way, and it's great. And then again, it's also, since with the pitchback, it also will work with home technique because of the fact that it is an attack event. So I mean, even though it's a response, you can actually beef up a basic attack, and you're getting an extra one out of it. So yeah.
Okay. And that was deck 4. All right. Then deck 5, I come up with a basic. So we went over a lot of basic cards when we did deck 1. So most of those will probably be in the deck. I'm not going to go over those again. But I had a few that I would put in for the basic. Specifically, first one is Lockjaw. Now, Lockjaw doesn't really, he doesn't really fill in the traits, but he's really good for making sure that you have an ally if you need him. So he's pretty versatile. So he's sort of an exception to the team building theme that I'm coming up with. But he's cost 4, 2 thwart, 2 consequential, 2 attack, 2 consequential, 4. You may play Lockjaw from your discard pile. That's his big thing. Yeah. Paying his resource cost.
And anytime I'm playing a basic deck, he's always on my short list, because if I'm playing a basic deck, I've probably got the power of.
Right.
So
right. And then this is sort of just, the idea is kind of more ally spammy, and get through my deck as fast as I can to
so
get
it's
to
a
my
basic leadership deck.
No, because I want to try to get to my Falcon cards as much as possible. So this is where Nick Fury comes into play. He costs 4, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points, shield spy. So he does share a trait in your alter ego, so you could use government liaison to pay for him, which was in the basic pile. After Nick Fury enters play, choose one, remove 2 threat from a scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage to an enemy. And then at the end of the round, Nick Fury is still in play. He discard him, so
we've got Junior. Did you put Singer in there too?
As a matter of fact, I did.
There we go. I was kind of wondering.
Here's number 2 of the disposable team. This is
the disposables.
This is
Dave's. That's what Dave's calling them now.
Yep, I'm got to talk to Tony about that. So expected a disposable wave in 2029 or something.
Can I help design that one?
That'd be amazing if I could. Yeah. Nick Fury Senior, 4 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. Shield Soldier, force response. After Nick Fury Senior enters play, choose one, remove 3 threat from a scheme, draw 2 cards, or give a shield character a tough status, and then at the end of the round, he joins his son.
Yeah, so you're probably not using the tough status one, more than likely.
Then we got Professor X, who is the leader of the disposables. 3 thwart, 0 attack, psionic X-Men. Well, Nick was going to say something about it. Then he thought, oh, okay.
Did he think it was too cheesy?
No, he thought I should be the leader. And then Professor X did this. And then he said, okay, you're the leader.
Oh, okay. Got it.
After Professor X enter play, choose one, confuse the villain, stun a minion, or ready an X-Men character. So the third option is not going to help you as much. But at the end of the round, if Professor X is still in play, discard him. But, you still got the confusing the villain or stunning a minion. So that's the part that's really good. Then just a couple.
And a 3/4.
And a couple.
That's a great.
Avengers that were not included in that original wave of cards we looked at. So we got War Machine here, who's 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points, Avenger Shield. Toughness.
Yeah, I actually thought about putting him on there, but then I thought, well, if you're playing with other aspects, you're probably going to be able to find some people that might be a little bit, more beneficial. But yeah, he is still a great one. I mean,
yeah.
And if you're going strictly with the basics, then yeah. It makes the list at that point.
War Machine, basic attack gains range, and range attacks ignore retaliate. Assess the situation. You get +1 hand size until the end of the phase.
It's great when you can get 3 of those out, but don't count on it always.
And the power of all of us to help pay for these basic cards. So between the power of all of us
And the power of
and
flight.
the
Yeah.
power of the flight, yeah, and double resources, there's gonna be a lot of resources.
Yeah.
So since there's a lot of resources, we got the Avenger Mansion here, which exhaust Avenger Mansion, choose a player, that player draws a card.
And of course, it shares the Avenger trait. So
It does share the Avenger, so you could get a discount with team building. And then we got the Helicarrier here, location shield. So again, government liaisons can help pay for this, but it's also choose a player, reduce the resource cost, the next card played. This is like a staple in them. Pretty much all of our decks. All right. Anyway, so that was deck 5, basic. So this video was a little longer than I wanted it to be, but oh well.
Yeah, but I'm actually really excited about Falcon because, like I said, he kind of came out whenever I was unavailable, so I didn't really get to see him as soon. So I mean, his cards are actually newer to me than I saw Bucky's cards before I saw Falcon's cards. So it's like, yeah, I'm a little bit excited about some of these.
Yeah,
some of his cards. I'm ready to see the rest of his deck actually to kind of see what they did. I want to see the other birds they come up with.
Right. I don't. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's. We had a lot of allies in the preview article, so I don't know if we're going to get any more allies that they haven't shown yet. The bird trait might just be one of those that it's going to get developed later on, or something.
One of things like I have a feeling the Atlas the Agents of Atlas is going to be a similar thing that we might see a couple of them trickle in before we ever see much out of that because they're kind of a little more obscure group.
And we have that. I mean, like Ms. Marvel was an Inhuman, which we haven't seen any Inhumans, and she was a champion long before the champions.
Lockjaw's an Inhuman.
Well, yeah, but he came in her kit. And Captain Britain, we got the Excalibur keyword, we got the X Factor keyword.
Yeah, we got 2 of them that are underutilized at this point that I'm hoping we see some more stuff from.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways,
I need to build a deck called Give Him the Bird.
Okay.
I need more birds.
Anyways, I'll try it again. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe.
And if you want to see more content by us, go ahead and click on that notify button down there, and you will get alerts whenever we put up new content.
All right. See you, everyone.